Islanders, go ahead and get the popcorn ready. We have a cruise news story, a cruise experience to share with you on the show today. I know that you're probably watching this during your break time. You just got home, you're resting for the evening. You're not going to see anything on TV, Netflix, or anything that has drama like this story does. Wait until you hear this. This is a story of a family who lives on the East Coast. They travel to the West Coast. They're cruising to Alaska from Vancouver on Norwegian Cruise Line. And somehow they don't make the trip. Wait till you see how they don't make the trip and everything that falls into place. The highs, the lows, the story we're going to share with you on the show today. We all need some time in the islands. Let's go there now on Island Time. A big happy Monday to all you Islanders. We hope that you're having a great day and your week is off to a great start. We are on Island Time. I am Derek. Let's drop our anchors and take some time to relax in the islands together. We all need it. We enjoyed our live show last night. Thank you to all those who checked us out. We are catching up today on the latest in cruise news and cruise experiences. I usually don't share stories like this, but this one I had to. There are so many curveballs, so many hurdles. The story changes. It's unbelievable. We're going to learn lessons today by this story. Wait until you hear the story. Talking about trip insurance, talking about arriving the day of your cruise, things like that. If you like to stay up to date with cruise news and cruise experiences, be sure you're subscribed to this channel. Ring the bell to receive notifications when we upload content. Let's dive right into this story. There is a family, the Thompson family, who lives on the East Coast. And like I said in the intro, they're wanting to go to Alaska. They're excited to cruise on board the Norwegian Jewel. They booked everything through Norwegian Cruise Line. They booked their cruise for their whole family, a big family. They booked a land tour, a 5-day land tour just after the cruise. They booked their airfare, everything together. Cost them $60,619.17. They were fine with that. They were excited about that. They paid off this $60,000 figure 5 months early. And when it came closer to their trip, they received an email. Here's their flight information. You probably know what I'm going to share with you. Norwegian shared their flight itinerary with the family, and it had the family flying the day of the cruise from the East Coast to Vancouver to make it on board. Now, much like you and I, we would say, I don't like that. I'm uncomfortable with that. The Thompson family shared that's what they did too. They saw that. They contacted Norwegian. They said, this ain't right. This ain't fair. This is not what we want. Norwegian, the representatives from Norwegian Cruise Line said, you know what, it's okay. We do this every day. It's going to be okay. You're on the first flight of the day from your airport. You're going to make it in time. Take peace in that. And the family took peace in that. Now, you probably know where the story goes from here, right? Listen to this. The family is getting ready for their cruise. It is the day of the cruise. They wake up. They go to the airport. And problem number one, roadblock number one, I'll try to call these out as I tell the story. Number one, the worst case scenario happened, right? The family missed their flight from Greensboro because the crew had a late flight, did not have enough hours of rest. Their flight is canceled. They contact Norwegian. What do? Norwegian says, we can't get you to Vancouver by the time the ship leaves. The family does what any of us would do. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see what we can do. They find an American Airlines flight that leaves Charlotte that's just 90 minutes away. They get in the car. They're happy probably because they think they have saved their day. They have saved the vacation. They're going to get on board the ship. They drive 90 minutes. They get to the Charlotte airport. And that flight, problem number two, that flight is delayed by an hour, but it does take place. The flight gets them from Charlotte to Seattle. They're excited. But issue number three, when they get to Seattle, the plane's already left for Vancouver. Roadblock, hurdle, issue number three, the flight had already left. You can imagine they were happy, and then they get there, now they're upset again. We're going to miss our flight, but they continue working and churning ideas. What can we do? We're going to make this guy stick together. They say, you know what? It's only 140 miles from Seattle to Vancouver. Let's go to Uber. Let's drive. That's an ingenious idea. That's what they tried to do. They start looking at Uber drivers. None of the Uber drivers have their passports so they can cross the border and get them there. The 140 miles, it's shot down. Would have been an unbelievable idea. It is shot down. That takes place. That's number 4 right there. That's number 5. Number 6, the family says that's it. We're not making it to our cruise ship today. never fly in the day of. That's so tough. But they realize we're not going to make it. It's okay. Let's contact Norwegian. Let's share with them. We're not going to make it. Here's where we're at. We're not going to make it, but we're going to get on the ship in Ketchikan, Alaska. They call Norwegian. They share their plans. Let us on a Ketchikan. Norwegian says, no, we're not going to do that. We cannot do that. Rules prevent us from doing that. That is number 6. Roadblock number 6. Unbelievable. The family says, you know what? We're going to miss the cruise. That's only one thing that we booked with Norwegian. We still have our 5-day land cruise. That's after the cruise takes place. We can hang out here. We'll do that land cruise. So they tell Norwegian, ask Norwegian, hey, what do we need to do to make sure we're on this land cruise? And issue, roadblock, hurdle. Part number 7 of the story, Norwegian says you didn't go on the cruise. You can't go on the land cruise either. Are you kidding me? This family who tried so hard to make this trip happen. They tried so hard to make pieces of the trip happen when things went wrong. They fought just like you or I. It's like they're punched over and over and thrown curveball over and over. Eventually, number 8, the family has to go back home. They fly all the way across the country and go back home. Can you imagine that flight? Everybody upset. You didn't get to go on the cruise you wanted to go on. You paid almost $60,000 for the cruise. You get back home. Of course, Mr. Thompson did what anybody would do. He reached out to Norwegian and said, okay, I'm back home. We didn't go on this trip. Now what do we do? And of course, this story, I'm sharing all the details that we know. There's probably things we don't know, but this is what has been shared. There may be other things in here as well. At what point would you have said, I'm done? I'm done. It would have been, I would have tried probably like this family did, but I would have been severely discouraged to fly all the way back home. Mr. Thompson contacts Norwegian and says, hey, when can I expect a refund for all this? And the guest experience coordinator sent Mr. Thompson a denial letter. He said, you're not getting a refund. But he sends him a denial letter of the wrong person. He sends him a denial letter of a separate guest, another guest on another cruise ship, not the same Alaskan cruise, someone in Colorado. And so Mr. Thompson says, hey, what's this? You know, this is not right. This is not mine. I am not this person. Norwegian eventually sends another letter that's for the Thompson family. It says, we're going to give you $2,500 back. Mr. Thompson said, hey, that ain't going to work. 60 plus grand, 2,500, that ain't the same. That is not the same. The family did not purchase travel insurance. No travel insurance. But wait, we're going to tell you about this other letter that was sent to the another family here in just a second. So the $2,500 is due to port taxes and fees and service charges for dining and the beverage package and the money that they're going to give back anyway. You don't even have to request a refund for that. If you don't make the trip, they're going to give you that money back anyway. Mr. Thompson said that ain't going to work. Matter of fact, shove that in your smokestack. Okay, well, I'm not taking the $2,500. Trust me. The last thing he heard from Norwegian was on the 7th of this month. It said it was from the guest experience coordinator. After a review of your case at length, we have determined that your concerns have been addressed in accordance with our policies. While we are sorry to learn of your continued disappointment with our previous responses, our position in this matter remains firm. Norwegian also responds, although Norwegian Cruise Line offers flight arrangements as part of our cruise package, we do not have direct control over the operations of the airlines and are not responsible for their cancellations. Per our air policy terms and conditions, remember those terms and conditions and all the big contract that all of us sign, it's pages and pages and pages and pages. If there are delays, cancellations, or any other schedule changes within 72 hours of your departure time, you will need to work directly with the airline for re-accommodations. These changes are beyond the control of Norwegian Cruise Line. Additionally, as a convenience to our guest, we offer the option to deviate flights up to 2 days pre-cruise, which the guest did not elect to do. Pump the brakes, Betsy. Okay, earlier in the story I shared with you, and the Thompsons say that when they received their flights, they contacted Norwegian and they brought up this concern. We don't want to fly the same day. They were told it's okay. It's going to be all right. They did that. So they say. That's part of the story. Norwegian responds again. This is their response. The guest is ineligible for a full refund as they did not purchase travel insurance. It is because of unexpected situations such as this that we strongly recommend guests obtain travel protection insurance. Without travel protection, we are unable to provide an exemption to our cancellation policy. They said that if they had insurance, we could provide this exemption. We could give them their $60,000 back. Lesson learned, right? What about that other passenger? Mr. Thompson was sent, remember that first letter was to a different passenger in a different state on a different cruise. He reached out to that passenger. He had the name of the passenger. He reached out and said, hey, what happened to you? And that passenger said that they had a similar thing happen. They missed a flight on their cruise. It was an international cruise. They missed their flight. But, and this is a big but, they had trip insurance. That person had trip insurance. Their trip was almost $11,000, but they purchased the around $200 trip insurance from Norwegian Cruise Line. But they too were denied the letter. And Mr. Thompson said, well, they're denying me because they said I need to have trip insurance. And you're telling me they denied you and you had trip insurance? The other passenger shared that they had received $500 each. There were two of them. $500 each, the maximum coverage in the insurance policy for airline flight delays. That paid for their flights back home, but nothing else. They haven't received their $11,000 yet. What an interesting turn of events. Norwegian tells one family, you lost $60,000, you should have bought the trip insurance. The other family had a canceled trip too. $11,000 trip. They had trip insurance. There was a maximum of $500. There are lessons learned throughout this story. Number one, do you need trip insurance for your trip? That is totally up to you. How much money are you spending on your trip? How many days are you going to arrive beforehand? Do you have kids at home that you may have to cancel last minute? Do you have elderly parents at home that you might have to cancel last minute? Are you in good health? Can you afford trip insurance? Usually the answer to that question is yes if you're going on vacation, but it's also important to check out the policy in which you are buying. You can buy it through the cruise line if you want to. It's not always the best policy, though. Look at what happened in this situation. A maximum of $500 each for airline delays. That's not a good policy. You can go through the airlines. You can go through other companies. Allianz has, of course, a travel insurance plan. There are other ones as well. It's so important you take a look at the policy. If you need help with this, please reach out to us. We will help you out and try to find the right policy for you. It's also important to note, try to arrive for your cruise. Anything other than the day of your cruise, arrive a day before, 2 days before, just in case. Try to arrive before. This family, they were comforted in that they don't need to arrive before. Norwegian said you're going to be okay. And then always have a backup plan. Always think through, what if this happens? What if I miss this flight? What are my other options? What if my car breaks down? Do I know anybody on my route from here to Port Canaveral, from here to Galveston? Always have that backup plan. You can't plan for everything, but you can plan for some things. Islanders, this story was like a roller coaster that had hills and valleys and loops and barrel rolls. Took us for a ride. It did. At what point in this story would you have said, I'm done. I'm going back home? Would you have fought to the end like the Thompson family did? On behalf of myself and our community, I hope that both of these families get something in return to two unfortunate situations. I know how policies are. I understand how policies are. I hope the best outcome takes place for both of these families. Have you had a nightmare cruise story or vacation story like this? If so, share it in the comment section below. What a roller coaster. I need a drink after that. I hope that all of you Islanders have a great day. Share your experiences, your thoughts of this story in the comment section below. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Island Time.